Government fraud, waste, and corruption isn't new news. My friend Nathan is here to tell us about some of his experiences in working for the federal government, really.
Yes, sir.
Nathan Jovic has a wonderful book, which I think you would probably enjoy. It covers a host of things, Nathan, everything from racism, discrimination, fraud, abuse, a lot of things about our government that people might find interesting.
Well, I hope so.
One of the things that I would like to have you share with our viewers is your experience when you worked in Fargo for the Veterans Administration. What was your position there?
I accepted a position as the project engineer at the Fargo VA Hospital. This was in the summer of 2011.
Okay, and for your information, there were about $30 million worth of funds being used on a variety of projects, and there was a particular issue where, with regard to the overlooking of safety of employees and patients, and tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We had a new fourth floor that was being added to the Fargo VA Hospital. The contractor that was responsible for that had set up a platform that they were using as basically a material clearinghouse on one side of the front of the hospital. The VA safety inspectors had come through just prior to me starting at the VA, and they were finishing their safety inspection as I entered the scene. And they had found a number of issues associated with that particular scaffold platform, and so it raised my curiosity about what they were doing in regard to safety. I was standing outside the facility one day watching one of the material vendors deliver some materials, and he had an extendable fork that he had brought some materials up to the platform with, and then he was retracting the fork after delivering the materials, and somebody came out of the fourth floor construction area with an arm full of metal rod, and as the fork was being retracted, he threw the metal rod onto the fork, and it did land on the fork, and it stayed on the fork nearly to the ground before it came crashing off. Fortunately, they missed narrowly the smoking shed where some of our veterans were sitting smoking, and at any rate, that really raised some red flags for me. After our VA safety people had found issues, and then I saw this particular issue, which really showed a demeanor of carelessness, wanton carelessness associated with construction safety. So I started keying in on what they were doing, and as I was...
Nathan, I want to interrupt you because our time is really short.
Sure.
What I want to ask you is, what happened when you began to report these safety violations? What was the response of people who should be concerned about that?
The response was very lukewarm. I think what was going on was the project manager with the contractor had very strong ties to the chief engineer, who was my supervisor, as well as the chain of command and the contracting staff.
So the bottom line is there was some kind of relationship issue that caused them to want to just cover all this up.
That's right, and I ultimately ended up calling OSHA. OSHA informed me that this particular contractor had many safety violations, including one fatality associated with doing very similar things to what I was finding on the job site.
Well, you ended up resigning your position. Did the contractor complete the job?
I don't know. I couldn't sleep at night, and I was convinced somebody was going to die on the job site, so I ended up resigning my position. I didn't want to do it because I knew I was serving America's heroes, but I had to do it for personal and professional reasons.
As far as you know, the contractor was never held accountable for any of the violations?
As far as I know, nothing was ever done. OSHA never came to the job site because all of their resources are tied up in western North Dakota.
Well, there's a personal story about corruption in government spending, government contracting. Interesting story, Nathan. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.